The government finds that the SEIU violates campaign finance laws by forcing its affiliates to contribute money to a PAC. But the feds decide not to prosecute. Joining me now is Mark Mix. He is the president of the National Right to Work Foundation, which brought the complaint against the big union in the first place. All right, Mark, welcome to the program. I want to make sure I've got this right now. The SEIU pressured its affiliates to contribute money to the SEIU PAC. That is illegal. It is wrong. The feds investigated, found it to be illegal and wrong, but will not prosecute. You've got to be outraged at this.
Well, absolutely, Stuart. This is just another one of those incidents where the union bosses and now the federal government are acting badly. There truly is coercion in this process, and that is that the SEIU in the summer of 2008 passed a constitutional amendment that said all local unions had to pony up at least $6 per head as a political payment to their political action committee. Well, first of all, that's a little bit questionable because the law says that you can't force people to pay, and money can't be utilized for political purposes that has threats of reprisal. So what happened was the SEIU said that they would fine the locals 150% if they couldn't pony up the quota. Well, we have a client in this case that basically is a non-member of the union, forced to pay dues and fees to the union to keep her job. When we talked to her about this, she said she was interested in proceeding with it. We filed a case in October of 2008. In April of this year, the FEC tells us that they've dismissed our complaint, but they didn't give us a reason. 23 days later, after they dismissed the complaint, they tell us they've dismissed it, and then 111 days after that, they tell us why. Interestingly enough, Stuart, the process for appeal requires a 60-day appeal, which we were shut out of. So
so there's nothing you can do about this because there's nothing that says they have to prosecute. They can decline to prosecute, and they have. Now, is there a parallel here between the Black Panther case? The two gentlemen at a polling station in 2008, one of them had a nightstick, probably threatening people. It appeared like a threat to the electoral process. Again, the Justice Department declines to prosecute. Is there a parallel between that and this SEIU case?
Well, certainly the idea that you use coercion to either get someone to do something or stop them from doing something is exactly the type of situation that the law tried to address in the Federal Election Campaign Act.
I'm thinking of a parallel with political influence. Don't want to prosecute the Black Panthers, don't want to prosecute the SEIU, whose former leader, Andy Stern, still sits on the President's Deficit Reduction Committee. I mean, are we talking here about gross political interference?
Well, Stuart, I'll leave that to the media to decide, but here's the fact. President Obama has nominated the Associate General Counsel of the SEIU to sit on the Federal Election Commission. His nomination hasn't been approved yet, but this guy by the name of John Sullivan is going to be one of the 6 members, and so you can draw your own conclusions about how important this FEC is to the unions.
I'm just wondering about the general trend of public opinion. I mean, the unions seem to occupy a very significant position within the Obama administration, and yet we've had this local Fox station in Detroit bring to light the activities of union members, the United Automobile Workers Union members, and here we've got the video again. They're smoking pot, they're drinking alcohol during a lunch break. Now, that was brought to light by a local station in Detroit, the home of American industrial unions. Do you think, is there a little bit of a shift in public opinion here?
Well, Stuart, the first thing we know is that 80% of Americans oppose the idea that workers are compelled to pay dues or fees to a union to get or keep a job. I think with the tremendous growth in government and what you're exposing here as far as the cost of government benefits, the American public's beginning to realize that the cost of government is directly related to union monopoly power in government. And we're going to see more of it as we move into next year, and I think you're right, the American people are waking up to it.
Mark Mix, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.